It's a beauty.
Oh, yeah, look at that expansion.
In our match bullets versus hunting bullets performance video, we left some questions on the table, which we're going to address in this video. Gavin Gay here from UltimateReloader.com. We are back. I'm here with Travis Fox. Thank you, Travis, for joining us
Thanks,
again.
Gavin.
It's almost to the end of November. Through November 29th, you have the opportunity to enter the Mark 7 Apex 10 Ultimate Giveaway. Let's hear about that. Mark 7 is giving away the following. We're talking about an Apex 10 10-station reloading press, an 11-inch high-speed case feeder, an auto drive for the Apex 10, a Mr. Bullet feeder, and a Pro die set. Can you believe this? This is an absolute dream reloading setup, and you can enter to win. All you've got to do is go to mark7loading.com/2021-sweepstakes. What are you waiting for? Go enter now. Okay, with the giveaway details out of the way, this is part 2, and we're doing this part 2 because of feedback that we got from you all. To review, our first story covering this topic was 2 6.5 millimeter bullets. We've got the 140 ELD-M from Hornady, and we've got the 143 ELD-X from Hornady. We tested these at muzzle velocity, and we saw some pretty amazing results. And what's interesting about that is it's muzzle velocity for 6.5 Creedmoor, which would be approximately a 400-yard shot with 6.5 PRC. Nonetheless, you all had questions. Questions like, what would happen closer to minimum expansion velocity? And we thought to ourselves, that is a really good question.
Yep. We really appreciate you guys' input on this, and we want to hear more from you guys, what we can study on this. But the results we got, we took 1,800 feet per second and 2,200 feet per second. And these are the results that we came up with.
Now, a couple quick notes that are scientifically really important, and this is also based on feedback that you all gave us. One, there could be higher rotational speed at distance with lower velocity because the velocity, the forward velocity, can peel off more quickly due to air friction compared to what the rotational velocity will. We're at slower rotational velocity because we've got slower muzzle velocity. Part 2 of these considerations is ELD-X and ELD-M bullets have a new heat shield tip for a reason. Bullets heat up at the nose. And with old gen Hornady bullets, this was addressed because AMAX bullets, for instance, were kind of melting. They figured this out with Doppler radar. So we don't have 800 yards worth of travel through the air to heat up the tip of the bullet and test it in ballistics gel. We don't have a good spot to film 800 yards away where we can hit with this kind of level of accuracy. We have not forgotten about these considerations.
Yep.
But what we did do is we did download these cartridges, actually Travis did, to simulate what the velocity would be at a 400-yard 6.5 Creedmoor shot. That's our 2200 FPS. And then at 1800 FPS, which would be close to an 800-yard shot.
Close to it.
Okay. What we found from the original experiment was both the match bullet and the hunting bullet performed well. They expanded well.
Surprisingly well, yeah.
Yeah, and we're not hitting bone here. We know that was another comment, and we're looking into ways to test that. But we were surprised at how similar the results were. Let's walk through now what we saw at 2,200 feet per second, which was our first downloaded velocity.
Yeah, so we've got these blocks over here. The top one is the X, the bottom one is the M. What's crazy about this is if you guys look at the travel through the blocks, they're the same.
Yeah.
I was really kind of surprised by that. They're the same, and the mushrooming is pretty cool in that. We'll pull the bullets out and look too. But we want to tell you guys, we want to understand, we're trying our very best to be slow and methodical about this, give you guys good results. I want to get the bullet traveling straight through the gel so we get the best data we can. for us to do that at over 100 yards, 600 yards is really, really difficult to do. So we are doing this at shorter ranges and downloading like this.
Yeah, like 30 feet, 30, 40 feet. That's kind of our, it's dependent on the setup here.
Yeah.
You know, what we saw in the high-speed footage was, I would say, a smaller wound cavity, if you want to think of it that way. And we'll share some high-res stills here in the accompanying article with some numbers and freeze frame on that. But the penetration distance, which was 23 inches, was very, very similar to what we got with the full velocity.
Yeah. It was interesting, though, at the full velocity, the match bullet did not penetrate as far. I think we were at 19 inches around there, but the X did get, 24. So it's funny that we lose, how many feet per second? So we lost 400 or 500 feet per second.
600.
600 feet per second. 600
22
feet.
to 28.
But we ended up with the same penetration. I find that very interesting.
Yeah, the 23 inches landed between where the full velocity match and hunting bullets landed, and it was with the 2,200 feet per second, you couldn't even tell the difference, right?
Yeah,
23 on the nose.
Yeah, very interesting. Fascinating.
And the expansion of the bullets also looks beautiful for both. So if you're not talking about bone, I would say this still looks pretty favorable either way.
Yep, I agree. And I'm
a little bit shocking.
Surprised.
Yeah.
Very surprised.
Not exactly what we expected. Okay.
No.
So when things get really crazy is when you go down to 1,800 feet per second. Now, as a quick review, we just took a look at Berger's 133 25 cal Elite Hunter bullet. And in that video, we gave a little bit of a preview of what we saw with the 143 ELD-X 6.5 bullet, because we shot the ballistics gel the same day.
Yep.
And not a lot of expansion, barely expanding on the tip. And both of them steered down in the gel and bounced off the bottom, which is
what we've seen with every single 1,800 feet per second load.
Today we shot the ELD-M 140, same exact trajectory inside the gel, bounced off the bottom, same partial tip expansion. Would it be a lethal shot if you had good shot placement? I would say probably.
Probably.
Yeah, but it's not going to inflict the kind of damage that you would.
You don't get the wound channel.
The shock is not there.
Right. So that was the other thing. At the 1,800 feet level, these bullets are giving you about right around 1,000 foot-pounds of energy. The 2,200 feet per second, you're still getting, what did I come up with? Just over 2,000, was it 1,800 or 2,000 feet per second, or foot-pounds of energy. So there is still a lot of energy in 2,200 feet per second. You really lose a lot of energy in the 1,800 feet per second.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're losing all that expansion capability.
Yeah, we saw that across the board. Multiple brands, hunting versus match.
Yes.
1,800 seems a little bit low, and so what I'm thinking is 2,200 is obviously really good.
It works.
What would 2,000 be like? I think that's a velocity that we should look at in one of our future stores.
Definitely. I think we're going to have to go down to 2,000 feet per second and see what happens.
Okay, so next we are going to dissect these gel blocks, and we're going to talk weight retention. Well, you made quick work of that.
It's all on the wrists.
Sure.
So, Gavin, what do you think? This is some pretty interesting stuff.
Definitely.
We come up, get these bullets out of here. You know, we talked about not having the expansion at 1,800 feet per second.
And if you look at these, this is what we're seeing. Very, very similar overall. 143 ELD-X, a little bit prettier. It's kind of mushroomed out a little bit.
Not a lot of energy there, so not a lot of expansion.
Yeah.
But then let's shift over to these 2,200 feet per second. I am really surprised. The ELD-X held up very well, and it held together. It's not come apart. We got a total of 113.73 grains out of a 143 grain bullet, which is a 79.5% weight retention.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty great.
Yep.
I'd be happy shooting that.
Well, I feel like we need to have discussions with the bullet manufacturers around the reasoning and the optimum weight retention range.
Sure.
Do you want closer to 100? Do you want closer to 80? You know, there are numbers, and I think that might be bullet specific, depending on how they work, how they're designed to work.
Yeah, the more weight retention you have traveling through the animal is going to cause more destruction, I guess, throughout that course, as long as you maintain that, rather than losing it all at the beginning like some of the high velocity stuff does.
There's two scenarios. There's the scenario where the bullet exits the animal.
Yep.
And then there's the scenario where the bullet stays inside the animal. And I think that gives you two different variables to look at, two different scenarios. So if a bullet fragments inside the animal, but all of that is retained inside the animal, then, you know, it's a question mark.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I know what that optimal thing is, but I do think it depends on the bullet design.
Yeah.
Here's the surprise, though, right?
So yeah, here. Whoa. So the 140 ELD-M.
Yeah.
2,200 feet per second. We did pull it out of the gel, and it was basically like this.
Yeah.
It is two separate pieces.
You could consider that one piece, though, because as it's pushing through the animal, it is essentially together.
Yeah, it was together.
Right?
We pulled it out of the gel like this. Here's the crazy thing about this. 140 grain bullet, weight retention on that, 130.42 grains. Actually more than the X. A percentage was 93%. I was like, woo!
Yeah, that's over 10% more.
I did not. So I will tell everybody, the high velocity test, this mid velocity test with this match bullet did not do at all what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to blow up. I thought it was going to fragment in lots of pieces. Neither one of those two did it. I was surprised.
Yeah, that was a real shocker. And then the numbers on the lower velocity, we had 96.5% retained, 135.22 for the 143 with the 140 ELD-M, and then we had 127.05 for 88.8% on the ELD-X. So interestingly, the same pattern here where you had more weight retention with the ELD-M and less with the ELD-X.
Yeah. I was like, did I mix these bullets up? And then I went back and checked, and I was like, nope, these are the right bullets. And so I'm pretty happy with our results. I think we obviously have more refining to do of our testing, but I do feel like we're getting some really good results to give to you guys. Please let us know what you think. We are looking at doing a 2,000 foot per second. I'd like to get something in between these two. I think that may be a real telling item also.
I'll call that optimal minimum velocity. You know, with us being able to test these bullets like this, if you're going to go out and hunt, you're going to know exactly where you want to be with the kind of expansion that you expect depending on your shot placement, right? This is a great educational tool as a hunter. More knowledge means more ethical hunting, in my opinion, and more options that you have as the situation unfolds out in the field.
I think we've given you guys some great information here, but I want everyone who's out there hunting to think about your shot placement, because shot placement is key to everything.
Yep.
We have all these discussions going on. I was just reading one online about guys using 22 center fire rifles for some of the small southern and eastern deer, and you know, that's totally doable, but it's all about shot placement.
Yep. And again, this 1,800 feet per second set of results very, very closely mirrors what we saw with the Elite Hunter with the 133.25 cal. Very interesting. All of them bounced off the bottom.
Yeah.
All of them retained about the same amount of weight. All of them had very similar distortion and deformation at the tip. So, you know, again, we're wondering, what are we going to test next? What about different bullet construction designs for hunting bullets? Of course, we haven't even gotten into pistol caliber bullets.
Yep.
You know, hollow points versus round nose and the defensive, you know, implications there. Or if you're hunting, you know, with bullets, like if you've got a 44 mag or if you've got a 500 and you're hunting bear or deer, wouldn't it be interesting to look at that end of the spectrum? Totally different velocities and everything.
We're going to throw in a little bone structure hopefully on our next one too.
More work for you.
Hey, why not? You know, this is all fun stuff.
This
we
is
like
Mr.
doing
Ballistic's gel right here.
We like doing this stuff. This is fun.
Yep.
I was cooking turkeys the other day, and then I was cooking Ballistic's gel. My wife was real happy.
Both took all day. Right? Okay, but what we want to know is two things. First, what did you think of the results that we got here? Was there anything super surprising? Go back and watch that first video, the hunting versus match bullets, and then watch this. Let us know what you think. The second thing is what kind of bullets and what kind of scenarios, what kind of cartridges that we would be shooting at what velocities do you want to see with this ballistics gel testing? Drop a comment and we'll start a discussion. Thank you for the hard work on this, Travis.
Thanks, Gavin. It's fun.
That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, make your voice heard. If you have something to say, please drop a comment. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications because you're not going to want to miss the awesome content that is coming up. And finally, flex your reloading pride. You could look great in one of these t-shirts. We've got multiple designs at the Ultimate Reloader store. I'll see you later because I'm off to go shooting.